You've never quite fit. Not in any dramatic way that would have given you a clean story to tell about yourself. You weren't the dramatic outsider, the obvious rebel, the kid who got bullied in some clear and identifiable way. The not fitting was quieter than that. It was the small lag between what everyone else seemed to find satisfying and what actually moved you. The way people would describe something as exciting and you'd feel nothing, or describe something as ordinary and you'd feel a strange pull you couldn't explain. The way conversations would run along familiar tracks, and you'd notice, partway through, that you weren't quite tracking the same things everyone else was tracking. You learned to hide it early, because hiding it was easier than explaining what you couldn't explain. You became fluent in the local language of normal, and you used the fluency to pass. The passing worked for a long time. People accepted you as one of them. You laughed at the right jokes, showed up to the right events, gave the right answers when asked the right questions. Underneath the fluency, though, you remained something else. Something you couldn't quite name even to yourself. A different way of seeing, a different way of caring, a different relationship to time or to people or to whatever it was that was different. You'd catch glimpses of it in solitude. When you were alone and didn't have to perform, the actual texture of your interior would surface, and you'd recognize it as yours in a way that felt strange, because it didn't match the version of yourself you presented to the world. Two people lived inside you, the one everyone met, and the one nobody knew about. The second one was the real one, and you protected her by keeping her hidden. Lately, the hiding has stopped working as well as it used to. You're not sure when it started failing, but you've noticed people looking at you differently. They sense something they didn't sense before. The way certain people watch your face when you're not talking, as if trying to read what's underneath. The way others have started asking questions that go a layer deeper than questions used to go, fishing for the part of you they suspect is there. The way still others have started keeping a small distance from you, not out of dislike exactly, but out of a kind of wariness, as if they've noticed you don't quite operate by the rules they expected, and they're not sure yet whether that makes you safe to be around. You haven't done anything visible. Something inside you has just stopped pretending as hard as it used to pretend.
What you have, the thing they're sensing without being able to name it, is a particular relationship to reality that most people don't have access to. You don't accept the surface explanations as readily as others do. You look through them almost involuntarily at what's underneath. You notice when someone's words don't match their body. You notice when a group has agreed on a story that isn't quite the story. You notice the gap between what people say they want and what they actually pursue. The noticing isn't a skill you developed deliberately. It's closer to a constitution. Your nervous system is calibrated differently from the average nervous system in ways that nobody taught you, and you can't fully turn off, even when turning it off would make your life easier. You've been seeing things other people can't see or won't see for as long as you can remember, and the seeing has finally accumulated enough force that it's starting to leak through your social presentation. There's a particular discomfort that people feel around someone who sees clearly, and you've started feeling that discomfort coming back at you. It's not hostility, exactly. It's more like the way animals get quiet when a different kind of animal enters the room. Their nervous systems register that you're operating on a different frequency than the frequency they've calibrated themselves to, and they don't know yet whether you're a threat or just an oddity. Most of them will sort you into the oddity category, because the threat category requires too much vigilance to maintain, but the sorting doesn't make the discomfort go away. They'll still feel it whenever you walk into the room. they'll still find themselves more careful with their words around you than around other people. They'll still suspect, in a way they wouldn't articulate, that you know more about them than they've told you, which is often accurate. People who possess what you possess have always been treated strangely by the larger culture they belong to. Across history, across geographies, the pattern is consistent. The ones who see what others can't see get sorted into specific roles. The witch, the seer, the artist, the madwoman, the saint, depending on the era and the local taste. The roles are different on the surface, but they all share a common structure, a recognition that the person is operating outside the normal rules, combined with an attempt to contain the recognition by giving it a name and a function. You haven't been formally sorted into any of these roles, because the culture you live in doesn't use them as openly as older cultures did. But the sorting still happens in subtler forms. People decide you're intense or unusual or hard to read or a lot, and the labels are just modern versions of the older labels, doing the same containing work that the older labels did. The reason your presence destabilizes certain people is that your existence proves something they've been working hard not to know. They've spent their lives building a model of reality in which everyone operates roughly the same way, in which the rules they've internalized are the rules everyone follows, in which the limits they accept are the actual limits of what's possible. You walk in, and without saying anything, you suggest by your simple existence that the model is incomplete. There are people in the world who don't follow those rules. There are perceptions that don't conform to the consensus reality. There are ways of being that exist outside the categories the dominant culture has provided. Your existence is information, and the information is unwelcome to anyone who's invested in not knowing it. They can't argue with you because you haven't said anything controversial. They can only register their discomfort and hope you'll leave the room soon.
The first practical adjustment to make is to stop expecting the people around you to fully understand you. They can't, and trying to make them is going to exhaust you. You'll spend years of your life explaining yourself to people who don't have the receivers tuned to the frequency you're broadcasting on, and at the end of all the explaining, they still won't fully understand. Save the explanations for the small number of people who can actually receive them. With everyone else, present the part of yourself that's compatible with their frequency, and let the rest of you stay private. This isn't dishonest, it's accurate sorting. Different relationships can hold different amounts of you, and trying to give every relationship the full amount of you is a recipe for burnout in everyone involved. The people who can hold all of you exist. They're rare. Find them. Spend most of your time with them. Make peace with giving smaller portions of yourself to everyone else. You need to find practices that let you maintain contact with the part of you that's the actual you, especially as the demands of the world try to pull you away from her. The hiding mode is muscle memory. You'll drift back into it without meaning to, especially under stress, especially around people who reward you for being less than you are. The practices that keep you in contact with yourself will look different for everyone, but they share a structure, time alone, in conditions where you don't have to perform for anyone, where your interior can surface without judgment. Long walks, journaling, a particular kind of creative work that nobody else sees. Conversations with the one or two people who know the real you. These practices aren't luxuries, they're maintenance. The interior you protect with them is the source of everything that makes you valuable. including the things the world has finally started to notice. Don't let the world's attention pull you away from the source.